What's up guys, Blake here, welcome back. Just wanted to touch in and share with you guys an experience that I had last night. My friend messaged me, and this is one of my best friends. We go way back. Even though we don't live in the same country, he's like my boy, he's my dog. And I would do anything for the guy, sincerely. And so he messaged me and I was like, yeah, what's going on, man? And he wasn't feeling so good. And I was like, what's the matter? He's like, well, let's have a call sometime. And I was like, yeah, for sure, anytime for you, man. And I was worried. I was like, should I call him? Is he gonna call me? I don't know. And this dude is usually, you know, pretty, he's on point with his stuff. And so sure enough, he calls me and I was like, hey man, what's going on? And, you know, he was just sharing with me that, you know, he's feeling tired of his lifestyle. He's feeling tired of going out, you know, partying, having drinks, and that his body was just kind of like rejecting that lifestyle anymore. And this dude is about maybe 15 years younger than me, maybe a little bit less than that. I'm 39, you know, so he's in his mid 20s, somewhere in that realm. And I was just telling him, you know, yeah, don't beat yourself up. That same sort of transition happened to me around that same exact time as well. And that was when I really started, you know, even though I was healthy and eating well, I was kind of like a weekend warrior. And that's when I stopped kind of like whiling out on the weekends and really just dialing it in. That's when I got my degree during those years, because I would do my homework on the weekends and things like that rather than go out. That's when I got into a serious relationship and we moved in together and had a dog. And it's like, I was living the American dream. So I just told him not to sweat it. It will just naturally happen because I know the kid. He's a very smart guy and he'll get it done. He'll get done whatever needs to get done. And he was like, yeah, you know, you're right. And, you know, I'm just so tired of this. And he just, you know, he didn't seem satisfied with that answer that I gave him. Like, I'm like, okay, well, what can I tell him? Like, you know, like, what other sort of angle can I tell him to like give him motivation or to sort of inspire him or help him to feel better? And I was like, well, you know, during that time, that's when I got a girlfriend. Like that seemed to help me kind of like chill me out. And, you know, oftentimes on the weekends, like me and my girlfriend at the time, we would, you know, run our errands and, you know, then watch a movie and, you know, have some popcorn together or whatever, and kind of have like a stay in date and stuff. And that was just kind of like our lifestyle. As boring as it sounds, it was amazing. And in some ways I missed that life a little bit. And he was like, yeah, you know, that's cool and stuff. I could get a girl, but... And so again, like he didn't really seem too enthusiastic with that response. And so he just kind of like, we switched the conversation and he started asking me about me. And I was like, yeah, dude, no, I mean, I'm good. I'm all good. Everything's going well for me. And I guess the biggest change since the last time we hung out is that I'm doing this whole raw food thing. He's like, yeah, I've seen on your story, like, that's kind of unusual, like for you. And if you guys have seen any of my other contents, I've made a couple of videos now that have talked about like the social stigma of being a raw foodist. And, you know, this is just such my comfort zone with myself and with you guys, the audience, and, you know, people on my IG, which is just my first and last name, Blake Herrick _. And there's you know, you can tell when people are just really, really confused or when people are disapproving. And he seemed genuinely just kind of like yeah, that I didn't expect that from you. And I was like, that's the response that you want from people who care about you and people who are your friends. It was a non-judgmental tone. It was, he just, you know, he seemed interested, and why I made that decision or what led me to that. And so I just started telling him my story really quick. And, you know, in the back of my head, I'm telling him my story with, you know, taking another stab at trying to inspire him or trying to at least ease his nerves so he's not beating himself up so much. And so I guess I was amping up my, you know, like my inspiration factor of my story. But it's the same story that you guys have heard. I started a long time ago with my health and fitness journey when I lost 100 pounds in high school. And for 2.5 decades almost, I've kept the weight off just because of exercise and eating a relatively healthy whole foods diet. But that transformation I had, you know, as a teenager was something that was profound that I was, you know, never really able to duplicate until I found raw foods. And my raw food journey started with water fasting, and then it led into juice fasting. And then I've been raw ever since, and now I'm doing my second juice fast. I'm on day 12. And I told him that when you see stuff come out of your body that you know is nothing that you have eaten recently, it's remarkable. It's something that it just makes you viscerally feel and understand and know deep down in your bones that, you know, there's a direct relationship. The stuff that is stuck inside you is a direct result of the choices of food and drink that you're putting in your mouth. And that I told him when I detoxed myself with juice fasting and raw foods, that I felt like a totally different person on the other side of it, which is 100% true. And not only did I feel like a new person, but old parts of myself that were, you know, like hidden talents, or like I was a childhood star at reading or learning things quickly and I was super smart. Those things all came back tenfold once I cleared out the gunk from my system. And I told him I had, you know, I was having some beers and cannabis once in a while leading up to my raw food journey. Nothing like it was, you know, in my 20s, but I haven't had a drink or cannabis since I started my raw food journey, which was over 6 months ago. And I have no craving for that. Furthermore, he knows me as the kayak fisherman dude as well. Kind of our circle of friends, we're all Scandinavian. So that's something big in our culture, is fishing and eating fish, you know, being on the ocean, boating, things like that. And I told him, dude, the craziest thing is, like, I don't want to go mess with the fish anymore and hook them in the lip and make them bleed and tire them out. And, you know, I've seen so many fish get eaten by birds right after I catch them, or, you know, I've seen where fish get eaten by sharks and stuff like that after you catch them, or you just kill them in the process. And I have no desire to eat them anymore, so I don't really feel like fishing anymore. And he knows me as such an avid fisherman, literally, that it just shocked him. And that story, my raw food story, and especially the juice fasting, was what he said, okay, that was the answer I needed. He literally said it. He's like, that is the answer that I needed I will do that as soon as I have some time in my schedule and it makes sense. I'm going to definitely do that. But, you know, meanwhile, you know, as far as like some of the other advice I gave him about, you know, maybe looking at getting a girlfriend or changing his circle of friends and whatever I said. I said a bunch of stuff before talking about raw foods. You know, he said that that was the answer that he needed to hear. And so you guys, like, I just wanted to hop on here today because, you know, you can see I'm in somewhat of a different setting, and you've seen some different backdrops for some of my videos, and you've seen my shorts that were in my kitchen. Just more so on a personal note, I want this content to be really add value to you guys and to truly help you. That's why I'm here doing this. That's my why. And I was thinking in my head earlier today that, like, the two strongest things that you can have when you're going through a transformation is you need to have a strong why. Like my why when I lost weight as a kid, and then my why when I was going raw, which I'll talk about in another video because that's a whole story, but that was a strong ass why. You need that strong why for, you know, for the staying power, okay? But the second thing that you need is you need to enjoy the process. And I'm blessed that I thoroughly love seeing the results that this stuff gives me, because I know that from a young age that when you put work into yourself, you're going to see results. But not everybody knows that, because not everybody has had some sort of crisis where they want to do a juice fast or change their diet into more raw foods. I saw it in my personal training career where, you know, people have never worked out because they've always just had like a slim, sexy body naturally, and it wasn't until later in life that they realized that what they thought their metabolism slowing down was and their weight gain was, you know, I didn't know at the time that, you guys, it's just that gunk, that toxic stuff accumulating in your gut that's poisoning you from the inside out. That's what's causing the weight gain. That's what's it's the root cause of basically everything. There's two root causes of basically everything, unless it's a mechanical injury. And that's basically if you have toxemia in your body, or if something's not functioning correctly, you know? And one or the other can be causes of the other or effects of the other. But everything else besides that, like the weight gain and all that other stuff, it's downstream from those two things. So if you can knock out the toxic part by doing a juice fast, eliminating this gunk from your body, it's going to make something click in your head that when you see, when you look in the toilet and you're like, I haven't eaten anything solid, and that is just an ungodly, and then kind of the smell, you know, not to gross you guys out, but we're adults here, guys. We need to take this very, very damn seriously. And so find your why. Why do you want to do this transformation? Really meditate on that. I can only give you some guidance on that one, but that's really your homework. And then my piece, you know, it helps to have somebody, a mentor, to help that beginning process, to help make the process enjoyable. Because the results might not happen overnight. In fact, they won't happen overnight. So when the results start coming in, that's when the process is going to be enjoyable, because you're going to be reaping the rewards of all your efforts. But until that time, you need to have super strong willpower, which is kind of what I had, luckily. Okay? But, you know, for most people, and that's when I was a kid. I don't know if I could have done that now. I don't know, without help. You know, a teenager, you know. So that's what I'm here to do, is help make your journey, you know, more enjoyable. And, you know, just basically like with the different types of content that I'm trying out and the different backdrops that I'm trying out. I would love you guys to comment below on what you think would be, you know, the most value add to you. And then as far as like the one-on-one coaching, I am still offering a free consult. So just book that with the link below. It's rawfood.lifestyle. And then I'm going to be doing individual, just one-on-one consults with people, and eventually launching a course. And the course is going to be a collaborative group coaching class. And originally I was going to be, focusing on helping people eat more raw food in their diet. And that's of course what this channel is all about, because that's the number one thing that can move the needle for you in your long-term health. But to really kickstart that process and to have that aha moment that this is what I need to do, it's the juice fast. That's the king. So that is what I'm going to help people with. It's going to be a 4-week course, and like I said, collaborative group coaching calls, multiple calls per week. And then you're still going to get your individual calls once a week with me. So I think if it's 4 weeks, you might get 5 total calls with me. I'm gonna call it week 0 is the first week. That's your preparing for the juice fast. You gotta, have your juicer, you gotta, all those things. Start tapering down your diet and stuff. And then you have a 3-week juice cleanse, guys. So that's kind of the structure of it for now, but I'm still building that out. But he's not the first one to really, I guess, gravitate towards the juice fast, because the raw foods is just like, I kind of get that it just flies over the average, not the average as in they're just an average person, but the common person, the majority, I should say. The majority of people's heads, because it's so foreign to them. It's like kind of like an alien concept. And it was an alien concept to me as well, so I get that. I definitely thought it was, veganism and raw foods and fruitarian was just kind of like cuckoo for a while when I first kind of learned about it. That's why I never really tried it, even though I've tried every other diet, literally, almost every other diet. I'm sure there's some weird diets I haven't tried, but so yeah, you guys, that's the best way that I can add value to your life right now, in a way that also helps me to be able to help you guys full time. That's my goal. That's my why. In addition to helping you, I want to do this full time, be self-employed, baby. So thank you so much. If you're still here, go ahead and subscribe, punch the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, guys, I will talk soon. Peace.